Emmanuel Dapidran Pacquiao, Manny Pacquiao, pride of the Philippines, 57-5 with 38 knockouts. Now, he just beat undefeated Chris Algieri, who was, a lot of people were saying, stylistically, this is bad for Manny. He could make Manny look bad. He could give him a lot of problems. And we seen what happened. And now those same people are saying Chris Algieri is nobody. So anyway, that's for another video. But so Manny Pacquiao just beat Chris Algieri, a good fighter. I don't think Chris Algieri is an elite fighter, but he's still a good fighter. And he just beat Chris. So Chris was 20-0. And then he previous beat Bradley in the rematch, who Bradley was 31-0. And Bradley was, in my opinion, he was top 5 pound for pound, if not top 3 pound for pound fighter in the world. And Timothy Bradley could beat Mayweather, in my opinion. He definitely has a strong chance of being Mayweather, Timothy Bradley. Because Timothy Bradley is not a one-dimensional fighter. He has a bunch of different kind of skills. And then Manny Pacquiao came off that knockout loss and beat Brandon Rios. Brandon Rios was 31-1. Lost the second time against Alvarado by a decision. So we all know Juan Manuel Marquez beat him back in 2012. And even before that, he lost to Timothy Bradley. But we all know that was a robbery. And Pacquiao beat Bradley worse in the first fight than even in the second fight, you could even say. Anyway, it's good that Manny Pacquiao got that rematch, because he kind of, since he won in the rematch, he kind of avenged that first loss, and more people are going to look at that as really Pacquiao didn't lose. So winning that in that rematch it made it clear that Pacquiao was the better fighter, and he did win the first fight. And then you keep on going back after that. He fought Juan Manuel Marquez for a third fight. That fight was close. In my opinion, that was Pacquiao's worst performance in his career, because he just didn't look right. Apparently, he was having problems with Jinky right before that fight. They were getting in fights and got in like a fight or something, and they weren't. So he wasn't right, and you can tell he wasn't happy that night. And his performance showed he wasn't that good. But what did Juan Manuel Marquez do to win that fight? In my opinion, I remember that was a close fight, but Manny Pacquiao still won. And I remember in the 12th round, Marquez did nothing. And the fight was in the balance. Marquez did nothing. Pacquiao clearly came out with won. It was a close fight, but he clearly won for me. And he was the champion. And Marquez just didn't even do nothing. You got to take it from the champion. You can't just... Marquez didn't do enough. And so Manny Pacquiao did win that, but that was close. Some people say Marquez won that one. And then you go back, Shane Mosley, Antonio Margarito, Joshua Colati, Miguel Cotto, Ricky Hatton, Oscar De La Hoya, David Diaz, Juan Manuel Marquez 2, Marco Antonio Barrera, Jorge Salas, Eric Morales 3, Oscar Valerios, Eric Morales 2, Hector Velasquez, Eric Morales 1, Fosh Son 3K Battery, Juan Manuel Marquez 1. So you go back pretty far. Actually, if you stop at Eric Morales 1 and you skip that fight and you go right to Hector Velasquez. So 2005, 09, 09 to 2005 in what month's that? September 10th, 2005. Manny Pacquiao has only lost once since September 9th, 2005. Manny Pacquiao has only lost once since then. And so if you keep on going, that's almost been 10 years, and he's only lost once. Because if you really look at it, Timothy Bradley won. He clearly beat him. That was a robbery. But since Manny Pacquiao lost to Juan Manuel Marquez and he got knocked out, people were starting to think, 2 losses in a row, he got knocked out. So they were starting to think, they know clearly Manny Pacquiao won the first fight with Timothy Bradley. But when you look at that, it kind of looks bad. 2 losses in a row. You start to wonder. A lot of people started to wonder. And then he beat Brandon Rios. And then he beat Timothy Bradley in the rematch. And then he beat Chris Algieri. And he's been trying to get Marquez for another rematch, but Marquez won't even give him one rematch when Manny Pacquiao give him so many rematches. So really, people are underrating Manny Pacquiao because that one knockout loss to Juan Manuel Marquez. And Pacquiao has 3 victories in a row right now after that knockout loss. But when you look at it this way, since 2005, next year will be 10 years, and Manny Pacquiao's only lost once by Juan Manuel Marquez, because I don't really count that robbery. So Manny Pacquiao's only lost once in the last 10 years, and that, I gotta say, like, that's why I never counted Manny Pacquiao out. I always had faith in him, because really, when you look at the loss to Marquez, he was winning that fight. He was beating Marquez up. It's not like he was getting dominated and beat up, and he was on the way to winning that fight. And if it wasn't for science that kicked in, and if it wasn't for his brain shutting down, like I said, science kicks in. There's nothing you can do. Your brain shuts down. You get knocked out. If he got up from that punch, he would have won that fight. So really, he's lost once in the last 10 years. That's just incredible. And like I said, I think that knockout, though, really did benefit him, because he's coming back impressive. His performance against Chris Algieri was the best performance in the last 4 years, since the Antonio Margarito fight, I think. And and really, you could say, oh, Chris Algieri, though, he wasn't that good of an opponent, but really he was a good opponent. And the same people who were saying he wasn't good, the people who were saying that was going to give Manny problems. And stylistically, this is bad for Manny. You got a bunch of fans saying that. You got a bunch of people in gyms and fighters saying that. You got Alex Ariza saying, oh, this is a big problem. What was Bob thinking? Yeah, you don't know nothing. He's a traitor, that guy. But anyway, he's been looking better since after the knockout. I was starting to, like, after the Antonio Margarito fight, it seemed like his motivation and his hunger started going down a bit. Shane Mosley fight, he still dominated that fight and won, but I think that's when it started going down. Not his physical, not his age, but his motivation and stuff, and his passion for boxing started to go down, starting with the Shane Mosley fight. Then he started having problems in his personal life for the Juan Manuel Marquez 3 fight. Then he started getting back on track with the Timothy Bradley 1 fight, but he still wasn't quite there. His passion wasn't quite there. Then he got knocked out. Juan Manuel Marquez totally revived his passion for boxing and woke him up. And he's not in cruise control anymore, like what he was since the Shane Mosley fight. It seems like he's been in cruise control. But after that, he's been cruise control from the Shane Mosley fight up until the Juan Manuel Marquez 4 fight. And after that, he woke up. Old Pacquiao's back. Brandon Rios' impressive performance. I don't care. Brandon Rios is a tough guy. I don't care where you say he was a punching bag. Yeah, he was a punching bag. But Brandon Rios is a tough guy. And obviously he's not an elite fighter, but he's a tough guy. And no one has ever dominated Brandon Rios like that. And then Timothy Bradley in the rematch. Top 3 pound-for-pound boxer. Possibly better than Floyd Mayweather himself. Manny Pacquiao beat him again. Dominated that fight. More competitive than the first one, but still, Manny Pacquiao beat him. And the level of competition Timothy Bradley was. A top 3 pound-for-pound fighter. Bradley is on the verge and near the elite level. And then you got Chris Algieri. Manny Pacquiao looked really impressive against him. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, because he isn't that high level, he's not good. But really, it's not that. Chris Algieri's a good fighter. I think he's a B-level fighter from what I've seen so far. I think Chris Algieri's a good B-level fighter. He still has years ahead of him in boxing, so he could maybe reach a higher level. But I think he's a good fighter, a good B-level fighter, on the same level as like around Maidana and Ruslan, on that level. But still, Chris had the title. He was undefeated. A lot of people were saying he was going to beat Manny Pacquiao, give him problems. This wasn't good for Manny Pacquiao. The size, the reach was really... Manny Pacquiao doesn't do good with boxers, and we've seen what happened. He looked impressive, knocked him down 6 times, almost got a knockout in the 9th round. Could have been a knockout. The ref could have stopped it. He was really hurt. So, I know... I think it's his most impressive performance in years. You could say Timothy Bradley was an impressive performance too. Timothy Bradley too, because Timothy Bradley was the real deal elite fighter, top 3 pound for pound, and he Manny Pacquiao beat him. So he still outclassed him. Just the skill, Manny Pacquiao just was too much for Timothy Bradley, a top 3 pound for pound fighter. Timothy Bradley is better than Chris Algieri. And maybe that could be why Manny Pacquiao... So maybe you could say Timothy Bradley 2 was his best performance, but I still don't think so. I think Manny Pacquiao's best performance since the Margarito fight was the Chris Algieri fight, because Manny Pacquiao's hunger, his passion for boxing is back. It seemed from the very start of the training camp for Chris Algieri, the fact that he started early with Justin Fortune, even before that, him hitting the mitts with people in his camp before even Freddie Roach and Justin Fortune arrived. He just looked very hungry, and really his passion got revived for boxing. He's taking it seriously again, and he's having fun doing it. He's not in cruise control. He's having fun. So that's the number one thing. I think Manny Pacquiao, his most impressive performance in the Chris Algieri fight. That Manny Pacquiao's most impressive performance since the Antonio Margarito fight, around that timeline. And I think the Manny Pacquiao that showed up against Chris Algieri, if he showed up with that hunger and passion for the Timothy Bradley 2 fight, he would have beaten Timothy Bradley even worse that night in April. So Manny Pacquiao is getting better since the Juan Manuel Marquez knockout. In my opinion, he's getting better, and he's reaching prime Manny Pacquiao again. That's my opinion, and hopefully Mayweather steps up and fights.